All right, everybody, are you ready for a brand new DCU update? Oh yeah, the internet is on fire right now. And let's talk about these Flash rumors. All right, now everything I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to have a couple disclaimers here. First of all, you could take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt, because all of this information comes from a few people who claim they have seen the actual Flash film in its entirety, and they have been plastering stuff all over the internet. And so today, I'm going to be talking about these leaks. And I've been watching all kinds of stuff on these leaks so that I could pretty much sum up everything for you guys here in this one video. Now let's talk about the first thing that everybody's concerned with, that apparently they have taken out all references. Oh, well, let me go back. If you don't want to be spoiled by the film, just in case these rumors are true, you're going to want to leave the video. You have been warned. First of all, it is being reported that they have taken out all references to Zack Snyder's Justice League. Andy Muschietti did say that he was a big fan of the film and he was going to put a couple references in his film that would tie directly to Zack Snyder's Justice League. And apparently, those several things have been completely taken out of the film, further showing that the studio is trying to distance themselves completely from the Snyderverse, that they want to erase everything. And that's exactly what this film does. Now, when I get to the part where I talk about the ending, it is more of an ambiguous ending than I think people would have hoped for. And it kind of could be just a complete ender for this universe in general, and that when Gunn starts his stuff, it's a completely different universe altogether. So, and if that's the case, we're not going to see any of these returning characters at all, which would be weird if he does Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. And I still don't think Peacemaker Season 2 is coming. I do honestly think this is a complete reboot, and they're just not really saying anything at this stage. So the first rumor is that Zack Snyder's Justice League, the references are gone. And that's upset a lot of people. Now, honestly, it doesn't change anything. Okay, we still have the films. To me, it's canon. I will never, ever, ever watch the theatrical version ever again. And I already confirmed in a previous video that the prequel comic to the Flash film already proved that Zack Snyder's Justice League was canon, because there was a very specific conversation in the prequel comic that has Barry talking with Bruce Wayne, and they do refer back to some of those events. So it's canon no matter what. I don't care what anybody says. It's canon. It doesn't matter if they reference it in the movie or not. The studio is definitely trying to distance themselves from the whole universe to begin with. And that's pretty much the purpose of this film, is that it is going to erase everything. So let's talk about the Henry Cavill cameo. There is a cameo of him in the film, supposedly. Again, take all of this with a grain of salt. There is a massive sequence when Barry Allen is traveling through time. And that's where they're going to have all the menagerie of all of the different iterations of these characters that we have seen on film, TV shows, and movies, for the past 30, 40 years. Well, 40 years, as a matter of fact. More than that, probably the last 50 years. So he's going to be in that particular sequence, and supposedly that's the last time we will see Henry Cavill as Superman. He's erased after that. It's done and over. So that's another one of the rumors that has a lot of people kind of upset. Now, the other big rumor has to do with the ending and this cameo. Now, before I talk about that, I want to talk about another cameo. Supposedly, these people said that Barry Allen from the TV show is not in the film, that he's not going to be in there, which I still don't believe. And this is why I'm saying take all of this stuff with a grain of salt, because everything I'm talking about today are things that have not been previously reported with anything having to do with the Flash. So everything except for the last thing, which is going to could be tied to it, and is the only thing that gives us any validity, I think. That Grant Gustin is not in the movie. but someone else from the CW universe is in the film. That's supposedly what's happening. Now, I don't believe that. I think it would be a huge miss if they didn't have. In fact, I think they should bring in Wesley Shipley or Ship or whatever his name is, Wesley Ship, the guy who played him back in the 90s in the TV show. I think it's Wesley Ship is his name. He should also be in the film. I don't think they should leave any of those individuals out, especially with it being the Flash movie. I think every iteration of the Flash that we've seen should be in the movie. Which does lead us to the ending. So we heard that there was going to be a Batman in the film that had been previously not mentioned. And they confirmed that it is definitely not Bale, that it is actually George Clooney. And that the very final shot of the film is Barry Allen getting to where he was trying to go. After everything is done, he goes to where he's supposed to be. And when he gets there, it is the George Clooney universe of Batman, and that Barry Allen gets arrested, which is weird. I don't know why they would do that. It seems kind of bizarre. I don't know. All of this seems to be kind of odd to me. It could be somebody out there just trying to blow smoke and make it sound like they know what's going on when they really don't. Because as far as I know it, there weren't supposed to be any major showings of this, the completed film, until this festival that's happening here in 6 days. So I'm sure we're going to get more information once that happens at the CinemaCon. But you could take everything I talked about today with a grain of salt. And hey, it may all be true. The one thing that's clear to me is that the studio is trying to completely distance themselves from the Snyderverse and just be done with it and move on. And this is why I don't think Peacemaker Season 2 is ever going to happen. Because the way James Gunn was talking is that Superman Legacy, and I'm going to talk about James Gunn here in a second, but Superman Legacy is, he said there's going to be no Peacemaker 2 until the release of Superman Legacy, which is more than 2 years away. And that could be a way of saying, hey, look, these characters are never coming back, that they're not going to be a part of this. So I still think they're leaning towards a full and utter and complete reboot, and that Superman Legacy is going to kick that off. But it will be interesting to see if they do tie it together and how they're going to keep remnants of this and not remnants of another, because they're definitely going to have to explain why Barry Allen ends up in this weird universe and he's out there in limbo. And we haven't heard anything about anything to do with the Flash going forward. We haven't heard anything, and I think they're waiting to see what happens with this film. He may have a plan for him in Chapter 1 of Gods and Monsters, but until they see the performance of this film, I don't think they're going to make any final decisions on the Flash character itself, which would be a shame because it's taken us this long just to get a Flash movie to begin with, and then to kind of erase everything and start over and not have a Flash project for a much longer period of time again. I mean, I'm not getting any younger, and I know a lot of other people are getting older, and we would like to see, the Justice League formed and have a true trinity that is established and used. We had it all ready to go with what we had before. I still say we should have never changed anything. There was no reason to do a reboot. You could have still continued with those characters that everybody has come to know and love and just have it at an alternate timeline. I think ultimately that would have been best. But this supposed pull from here, pull from there, I'm going to keep the stuff I created type of thing, again, his nepotism, I just don't see that flying or working with the general audience. I think a lot of people are going to get upset, and a lot of people are already upset. So there's my kind of recap on the things that are going on with The Flash. What have you read? What do you guys think about everything that's happening? If you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you on the next DC update.